I've been on a lot of websites, and I made this video recently, describing these symptoms I've been having, and I would, like to thank those people who sent those, their comments and everything. At least I know I'm not going crazy now. I'm not the only one feeling this, or I haven't been on my computer too long, or don't get out enough, because obviously it's happening to people everywhere. And I can't wait to get even more responses. But part of that, I've seen a lot of videos talking about the star seeds and what do you call it, walk-ins and soul swap, something like that. Basically talking about the Intergalactic Federation of Light. And you got Orions and Pleiadians and Arcturians and it's a whole bunch of them, that were named. And I'm like, all right, you know what? Hey, I really hope I'm on the right side of this whole change, shift thing. Perfect. And I was thinking about this intergalactic family they were talking about. And I'm like, we can't be the only living organisms that, function or whatnot. It's too big out there. And so here I am reading Job, chapter 38, and I come down to verse 31 and 32. And it said, canst thou bind the sweet influence of Pleiades, or loosen the bands of Orion? Canst thou bring forth Mazzaroth in his season? Canst thou guide Arcturus with his sons? Wow. Like, really? Like, here I see Pleiadians, Orion, whoever, Mazzaroth, and Arcturians. These same names that were, or peoples that were mentioned in those Intergalactic Federation of Light videos that I've seen. And here they are being mentioned in the Bible. Now, are we talking about actual inhabitants or just the star system themselves? That's why I'm starting to think, hey, maybe there's something to this, that we may receive some visitors or whatever. I'm not totally sold on that, but if there is something else out there, or somebody's, that they may be prepping the world to receive them. But I also hear about the Project Bluebeam and all this, and that they're really demons and all these different things. So I mean, it goes in a million different directions. That's why I try not to really just take it hook, line, and sinker. But it is interesting to see these things. I'll go over here to chapter 39 in Job, and it said, will the unicorn be willing to, this is verse 9, will the unicorn be willing to serve thee, or abide by thy crib? Can thou bind the unicorn with his band in the furrow, or will he herald the valleys after thee? And I'm mentioning unicorns. Um, Everybody knows, I mean, unicorns, hey, they never existed. They were just, creatures of old myths and legends. But I'm like, you know, if people really believe everything that's in here, if we say this, then that means that, the movies that we see, everything is, it's no longer theory then. Then that means that at one point these things existed, so dragons and everything else must have had existed, bones are found or nothing like that, but still, I mean, they're finding the bones of big giants and stuff already. Um, so I have to start, giving credence to, hey, what's going on? Did these things really exist before, and now they're just kept alive as fantasy, but they were actually real things, and somebody's not saying something. I'll also go to Isaiah chapter 13, and I didn't read the last two verses because it was part of, I wanted to add it in with this. This is talking about the burden of Babylon. This is chapter 13, verse 21 and 22, book of Isaiah. It said, but wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So over in Job, they mentioned in Mazzaroth and Pleiades and Orions and Arcturians and unicorns, and actually I seen unicorn like further back also. And then over here in Isaiah, they're talking about satyrs and owls and dragons. All right, now everybody's been seeing the owl symbolism a lot lately, and its different meanings and what it's used for, Um, so really don't need to go into that. And satyrs, if anybody know what a satyr is, those are the like those pan creatures, with the goat legs and the human body with the horns and a little flute, those are satyrs. And they play for the nymphs. The nymphs accompany them or whatever. They play, and then the women, the nymphs dance around and all that stuff. You know, pretty cool spectacle if you ever seen it portrayed on TV or something. Um, Wild beasts of the islands, and so they're talking about of the desert, and then they're talking about desolate houses and dragons. We're mentioning dragons now, you know, dragons in their pleasant palaces, are they talking about statue dragons or are we talking about real things? I mean, they're mentioning satyrs and owls, and then I thought about this, this is where their kingdom will be. All these wild beasts and these creatures. Hey, everything just detestable, I guess. And it made me laugh when I think about all the music videos where you see the artists in the desert. You got I know Rihanna, she had one in the desert. Um, I know Beyonce, she had the one in the desert, and that's full of symbolism. Of course, y'all seen the lady, the Who Run This World or whatever. The girl on the cross, the car that says Revolution. She riding a black horse. She's standing there with two hyenas on chains, the same way the Devil Tarot card looks, with devil sitting there with the two man and the woman on the chains, and I mean it goes over and up more and more. But the one that stood out was P Diddy's video on coming home with those two girls, and he's in the desert, and the chorus is what got me. And then part of the chorus said, and though my kingdom awaits, I've been forgiven my mistakes, I'm coming home. And I'm like, wow, if you add that in there with all the other talk about the artists and what they're involved in and whatnot, and that's they're getting their portion, I'll say. I think about this here, the wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and the owls and the satyrs and all that, And so as I see more and more artists filming these videos in the desert, it's just symbolic of that desert kingdom where all the wild beasts are. Just a little comparison I came up with, but definitely, you know, I have to start thinking about all the things that we thought were just for the storybooks and the creatures and everything. They're all, they're being mentioned in the Bible here. And this is, still the top seller in the world, and people, believe what's in its pages. So maybe we shouldn't call those things myths either then. That's just my opinion.